Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Smart Man, Smarter Woman, a podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I am Steve Lotz.
And I am Juliet Aurora.
And we are your co-hosts. And before I introduce today's guest, let's hear from my wonderful co-host, that smarter woman herself. At least that's what she keeps telling me, and I'm becoming a believer, folks. How are you doing today, Juliet?
I am excellent, thank you. And I'm glad to hear that you are becoming a believer. It has taken me a long time to get you there. So it's great to hear that you're actually becoming a believer.
Well, thank you. And as you all know, if you've listened to us before, the goal of every episode is to provide some entertainment, but most importantly, some value for you, the listener, some insights that we hope will help you on your own entrepreneurial journey. And we're really excited today for our show. We have a special guest with us from halfway around the world, Laura DiBenedetto. Laura is a TEDx speaker, a #1 best-selling author of her book, The 6 Habits. She is also a life mastery coach. She teaches you how to create the life of your dreams without sacrificing what you love. And as founder and CEO of Vision Advertising, that is a company that she started when she was 19 years old and has helped hundreds of entrepreneurs build and grow their own profitable companies on their terms. So, going to be lots of really great things to talk about today. So let's bring our guest into the show, Laura, and welcome, Laura. And thank you for joining us all the way from, as I now understand it, the island of Maui in the state of Hawaii. And you are only 4,600 miles from where we are. That is for our American friends, and for our Canadian friends, that is 7,400 kilometers. I thought I would do the calculation for you. So, how are you doing today, Laura?
Well, thanks for having me on your show. I'm excited to be here with you and help to convince you further that, women can be smarter sometimes. So I will help you, Juliet. Thanks for having me on your show. It's really fun to be here. And yeah, Maui is pretty great, and it is pretty darn far away, but there are a surprising amount of people that call Maui their second home from Canada.
Awesome. Well, I know we do have some friends who love to go there on a regular basis. Now, there's lots of things I would like us to get into today, because I think there's lots of things that could benefit our audience of entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. But before we do, perhaps we could start out, if you could take just a few minutes and maybe just share a little about your own entrepreneurial journey, how you got sort of to where you are right now.
Sure. It's funny. This is basically just another version of tell me about yourself. And I used to hate that question, but I'm getting better at it. So bear with me. I'll try to make this not boring. So I started my first company at 19 years old because I'm a rebel and a know-it-all. And I decided, well, I know more than these people that I was working for. I had 14 jobs in 1 year. I got fired from half, I quit the other half. And I was like, yeah, that's not really for me. So much like a lot of entrepreneurs, I was like, screw you, I'm out. I started my own thing and made so many mistakes along the way, but I managed somehow, despite myself, to build a little mini empire. And I retired at 37. I mean, granted, between starting it up and retirement, there was a lot. Sold millions and millions of dollars worth of services myself. Basically went through every business exercise and hoop you can possibly think of, and all sorts of neat stuff. Entrepreneurship changes you and you change it. I can tell you I'm such a huge fan of entrepreneurship, and now it's like I get excited about something. I'm like, ooh, wrap a business around it. So big fan.
I love that. I love that story.
No, that's great. Well, how did we arrive at writing the book?
Well, tell us the name of the book first. Tell our audience the name of the book. I think, Steve, you mentioned it, but let's make sure that everyone remembers what the name of the book is.
Absolutely.
Well, the name of the book is The 6 Habits. Now, The 6 Habits was originated from a desperate cry on my part to not feel like crap anymore. So here's the deal and the truth about entrepreneurship. It's amazing. It'll change you. It can turn you into multimillionaire, can do all the things, but it can also burn your ass to the ground. I don't care how much you love something, it can burn you out after 19 years of it, particularly if you're doing it the wrong way or you're achieving for the wrong reasons. Now, I want to be really clear. I've achieved a lot and I have a lot of commercial, traditional success on paper that lots of people be like, oh my God, I wish I had that. But you know what I was really missing? The inner success. And that is why when I retired at 37, I was looking around at my big pile of stuff and all my toys and all my money. I was like, so what? This sucks. I'm not happy. And, it felt really hollow. It wasn't even the death of the identity, which, CEO demoted to CEO of doing the dishes. I mean, that hurt less than like I did all the things and I checked all the boxes. For what? I got here and I'm no happier for it. Like, who cares, right? I mean, I have more salty thoughts on that, but basically I was a really, really miserable person. And just being an entrepreneur, as we all are, I saw a problem and wanted to solve it. And I was like, well, this won't do. I did not just work my buns off for 19 years so I could get to the finish line only to be really mopey and no fun to be around and fighting with my husband and being a loser. No, thank you. Guys, you're not going to believe this. I wasn't even proud of myself when I retired. I retired at 37 and I had officially achieved the wealth I always dreamed of. And I did all the things. And you know what? I was still comparing myself to other people. Like I still hadn't done enough. I wasn't rich enough. My house wasn't big enough. My car wasn't glitzy enough. I was still doing that. And I was like, you know what? We're done here. I'm not doing this. So I wanted to feel better. And I was like busy staring at the wall, like all catatonic for like several days. And I was like, okay, this sucks. So I wanted to find out, well, where did I go wrong? I've done all the classes. I've done like the seminars and I've done the Tony Robbins stuff and I love all these things, but why didn't anything stick? And I thought it was me. I wanted to know what I did wrong. Turns out it wasn't me. So that was cool. Turns out it's not any of us when we try to do something within any sort of like personal development or self-mastery stuff. It's none of us. It's the fact that like, number one, we got a couple of problems. Number one, we are all misled from the time we are very, very small about what the real definition of success and happiness is. We're really, really misled. I was too. We are told, particularly here in America, that success looks like X. Look at the cover of the magazines. That's what success looks like. And if you don't look like that, you're not successful. You must grind and hustle and do all these other negative terms to make yourself successful. And you have to achieve and achieve and achieve so then other people will approve of you. So that was one of the first discoveries. Then I just like really wanted to know, well, okay, well, if that's true, then what are the really, truly happy and successful people doing? And what does that look like? Well, these are people that are content no matter what they have. They appreciate everything. These are people that are joyful when they wake up because they're grateful for their whole lives. They treat themselves with so much love and those around them, and they're peaceful. Very peaceful people, and they're not visiting BS upon the people around them. They're wonderful leaders. They inspire others. They're known for their kindness. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I started to change my own definition, was doing like lots of research. And then when I got to the whole what went wrong, what did I do wrong? Why did I take all these classes and nothing really fit and stuck, like I was really left with, well, what is it that all these really happy and successful people have in common? And it's not a series of epiphanies. It's not things that we know. It's actually things that we do as a default. That's why the book is called The 6 Habits, not The 6 Epiphanies. And because these are 6 habits. And really, what is a habit? Like scientifically, it is something that you do automatically without needing to force yourself to do it, remember to do it, or even be conscious of it. These are unconscious behaviors. So I was like, okay, how do I unconsciously do this? Okay. So like, I was like, what are the behaviors? And those are the 6 habits. And I'll tell you about those later. But like, I really wanted to understand, well, how to do it. So I ended up building this whole 90-day program for myself so I could stop being a miserable loser. And I stopped being a miserable loser when I did it. And it was like, I was only like 5, 6, 7, 8 days in when I started like feeling like the person I always wanted to be, the person that led with like benevolence and grace, the person that led with patience and kindness, and the person that was a better leader, and the person that like had money like magnetically attracted to her. I always wanted to be that person. Like, you look at other people out there, other entrepreneurs, you're like, damn, what are they doing? I got to get me some of that. And I was finally getting me some of that. And I was like, oh my God. So long answer to a short question. The book came about because I wanted to share this with other people. And it actually came about because I was like, hey, you know what? My friends, I love you. This is just a few of the friends I love. I'm just going to write you a few paragraphs. Well, baloney. Here we are 55,000 words later. It's an actual book. So much for a few paragraphs. But it began out of an act of self-love, then love for my friends, and then love for other people.
What a great reason to write a book. And I love the one statement that you said, I'm probably paraphrasing a little bit, where you talked about that you got to the finish line and realized that it was the wrong finish line. And I think that there are so many people who probably go, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, who go through life, get to the finish line and realize exactly that it's the wrong finish line, that everything that they worked for and strived for and thought that they wanted and needed in their life was not actually what they wanted or needed in their life. So I love that phrase.
Thank you. Well, you know what I found out? I work with some people one-on-one, and even when, people don't work with me one-on-one and I'm just telling them about the 90-day or this or that, it seems like there's a consistent thing there. I've always been chasing success, and either I'm chasing it and it's not very fun, or I found it and it's not very fun, because we externalize success. And the real success, I'm sorry, it's not in the Rolls Royce. It's not in the Maserati. It's not in the big fat bank account. I mean, granted, it's a little tougher to you cry on a jet ski next to your mansion. I'm going to just admit that. But, the real success that we really yearn for, even if we're not admitting it, is internal. That's what we're all looking for. And that was the thing as a stubborn, bullheaded entrepreneur. I was like, no, I don't need that. I'm the master of my own destiny. I'm going to create my own future. But I built a lovely gilded prison for myself. And I have no problem admitting that. And so many entrepreneurs do it. We focus on how many sales can I make? Oh my God, well, when I hit my first $10 million in sales, then I'll be happy. Oh, when I finally grow the company to having 25 employees, then I'll be happy. Oh, then my wife will be happy with me, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's always the if-then argument, and it's false. It's like, no. You will manifest more. You will get to your $10 million. You will get to your 25 employees. You will get to the happier marriage when you begin with you. Kids will like you more. You'll like you more. And life will just be easier for you. And like when you're trying to make these sales, they'll go easier for you. Success comes easier. It's just everything's easy. Everything.
So what advice, based upon your experience and your journey so far, you meet a 22-year-old and they really have a great idea and want to become an entrepreneur and want to start a business, don't have any experience of having a business or what it's all about. What kind of advice would you give to them, knowing what you know now?
I actually talked to a lot of 22, 21, 20-year-olds, 19, because I've had an internship program at my first company for over 15 years. And so that's actually one of my favorite audiences to work with, is the young mind. And I love talking to them. And I'll tell you exactly what I tell them. I tell them, number one, a couple things. Number one, success is so much easier to find if you work on yourself first. You're going to struggle and bust your ass, and you're going to hustle and grind, and you're going to make yourself sick, and you're not even going to have any fun if you don't invest in you, the human, first. Number one. Number two, do not do this to impress your parents. I know they want to be proud of you. I know you want them to be proud of you. Baby, just by being born, they're proud of you. Even if they're not conveying that, they're proud of you just because of who you are. It's just in your being. And I tell them, number three, operate out of high integrity, even if things go wrong. 4, sell because you're trying to serve people, not because you're trying to do something to someone or take their money. Like, operate from a place of abundance, and also plan and do things right the first time. Don't be a stubborn little so-and-so like I used to be and be like, oh, I got it all figured out. No, you don't. Take the extra time, lay a foundation that is unbreakable of solid relationship with yourself, solid core business strategy. Answer the question, how are you going to make sales? and stay happy, whole, and intact. Answer these questions, then go build. There is so much value in silence before you take action. Believe me, I'm all about build the parachute on the way out of the airplane. To a degree, there's a lot of that involved in entrepreneurship, but there's tremendous value in the fact that so many young people, 22, et cetera, are still living with mom and dad. Tell mom and dad, this is what I want to do. I need your support so I can do this the right way. And someday for 20, 30 years from now, I will buy you a home. But for now, I need you to invest in me and let me do this right.
We will continue with our conversation right after this message from a friend of the show. AIS Solutions is an award-winning cloud accounting firm serving small businesses all across Canada. If you want to move your bookkeeping from the desktops of the dark ages to the cloud and get your financials wherever you are, whenever you want them, then contact AIS Solutions team of trained professionals today at www.aissolutions.ca. And now, back to our conversation.
So you've said this a couple times, and maybe for some of the people in our audience, they may not necessarily know what that means, but you've said to invest in yourself and work on yourself. So can you expand that a little bit for someone who may not necessarily even know what that means or where to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So you got folks out there like Tony Robbins, and he's just a very visible example. So I'm just going to mention him. Almost everybody knows who he is at this point. Tony Robbins teaches people about money and business and this and that. But Tony Robbins also teaches people about how to develop yourself and who you are. And this is the wonderful thing that I really appreciate about Tony Robbins. Even if you don't like his politics, you've read some of the headlines and you think that he might be a dirtbag, whatever. He's still like one of the godfathers of the industry of personal development. And that's why I use him as an example. And the notion of personal development and investing in yourself is clearly defining what you want out of life and mapping out your strategy to have it and making sure you've got all the support systems and the tools to go forth and have it. So one of the things that I actually say to people quite often is if you want to have more, you want to do more, you have to be more first. And by being more, that means that you're not falling prey to all of the negative narratives in your head of, oh, I can't do this. Oh my God, this is going to go like crap, or, oh, I'm such a failure, or, oh, I need to do this for my parents, or, oh, I have to take this client because I need the money. Okay. There's a lot of things that if you work on your relationship with yourself and your relationship with life, which is actually the whole foundation of the 6 habits, that's what they are. If you do that, you will sell better. You'll run a company better. You'll be a leader that people aspire to be just like, and they're like clamoring to work with you. People want to give you business. You'll get referrals. You'll have fun. You'll enjoy yourself. When the money comes, and oh baby, it'll be fun. You won't spend it on dumb crap trying to keep up with the Joneses. You'll spend it on the things that truly provide you with fulfillment and joy. You won't take on clients from hell and stick with them because you have to, because you'll know to the core of your bones your worth, and you'll know you deserve better than that crap, and you're nobody's victim. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff here, and you'll see, oh boy, I'm standing at the base of like Everest right now. It's okay. Saddle up, bucko. Let's go. Like if you invest in yourself, you approach life with I can do this. I have, and I am everything I need. And I deserve good things. I don't deserve bad things. And I will settle for nothing less.
Great philosophy. And there are so many people who don't have that belief and aren't striving for that and don't realize that that's what's missing.
No, absolutely. And, candidly, I didn't realize it either because I did the, quintessential American thing. I wanted the American dream with the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids and the dog and the husband and the blah, blah, blah. I didn't have the 2.5 kids, but I did have the husband and the dog and 2.5 cats. And I had the money and the vacations and the fancy wardrobe and the blah, 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 and who cares? But like, whatever. It didn't make me any happier on the inside. It didn't make me a better daughter. It didn't make me a better wife. If anything, it actually took me away from my marriage, and it took me away from my family, and it distracted me. And the thing is, when we really also work on ourselves, we tend to do less busy work out of feeling like, oh, I gotta be busy. I gotta keep the momentum. No, you let certain things go because you know they can be let go, and you're really good about priorities. Like, you take somebody, like, just literally whoever's listening to this right now, in your mind's eye, I want you to visualize someone in your business community that you totally idolize. Who is that person? Just picture them in your head. Now ask yourself about this person. Is this person like, are they moving through life like a wrecking ball? Are they destroying their family and crushing their little kids' hopes and dreams to spend time with their mommy or their daddy? Are they destroying their marriage because they're not tending to it? Are they cheating on their spouse? Or is this person making good decisions and leaving a positive legacy that they're proud of, and treating their kids with kindness and actually being there for them, and showing up for their spouse and prioritizing their spouse, and you know what I'm saying? And being like a really good leader that inspires others. Like, the people we admire truly in our hearts, it's not because of their toys. It's because of who they are and what level of joy they appear to have. And that's what we truly admire. And if we're really trying to emulate that, we need to understand that it's not the stuff, it's not the achievements, it's not the wallet size, it's none of those things. It is 100% that ability, that person's ability to be the master of their habits, master of themselves, and a master of their life. And you do that by beginning the journey with mastery of habits and really getting in control of how you show up in the world.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. I would like to come back to the book, because when we gave the title of the book, we didn't give the entire title of the book, right? The book is The 6 Habits, Practical Tools for Bringing Your Dreams to Life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you mind, and I don't want to give away too much of the book, obviously, because we want our listeners to go out and buy the book.
That'd be awesome.
And I'm sure you would probably like that too. Perhaps could you share maybe one or two of the tools in the book, perhaps that really helped you?
Sure. So what I'll do for you is I'll actually tell you what the 6 habits are, just overall name them, and I'll tell you what my favorite one is, and the one that was actually the most difficult, and the favorite and the most difficult were actually the same. So I say this knowing that I can tell you what the 6 habits are, but knowing something and applying the wisdom of it are two very different things. So anyone listening, by all means, if you can change your life by listening to me talk for 1 minute, God bless you. Go with God, like, you can do it. But like, the thing is, you need the wisdom, you need the pathway, you need the tools, and the book is loaded with free tools. So I encourage everybody that reads the book, get the free stuff. It's so worth it. So the 6 habits are kindness, acceptance, gratitude, presence, goodness, and intention. I'm going to briefly explain these. This is, when I say kindness, most people think of kindness towards others, towards animals. I mean kindness to ourselves, which many entrepreneurs, myself being one of them, I was under the illusion, oh, I'm really kind to myself. No, I wasn't. We have to scratch below the surface. And what is the little bully in your head saying to you when you're ready to make that cold call, or when you're walking into a situation that you're not sure you can handle? So yeah, we're not as good as at kindness as we think we are. Acceptance is the action of unconditionally loving ourselves. And I have to tell you, being an entrepreneur, I actually think it's more important for an entrepreneur to learn this and master this than almost anybody else, because we have a lot of unique decisions and responsibilities and a lot of weight on our shoulders that, if things go off the rails, and sometimes they do, this can really erode our self-worth and really make us feel less than if we make mistakes. Acceptance is very hard for entrepreneurs. Even if at the outset you might be listening to this and be like, oh, I'm really good at that. I promise you, once you scratch below the surface, you're going to see things that you're like, oh God, and then you'll want to work on it, because you'll realize that's a weak spot and you're only as strong as your weakest link. Gratitude goes way beyond just the little 10 thoughts of things you're grateful for at the end of every day. Although, please do that. This is radical gratitude that carries through every decision, every moment, and every lost sale and every hard lesson in life. And gratitude, the way I'm talking about it, is it's a lifestyle, it's a lens. When we get to presence, I have ADHD. This one was a sticky one for me. I got to be honest with you, because it's like, ooh, shiny thing. But the thing of being present is not worrying about your calendar and your phone buzzing and, oh, I got to do this and, oh, I got to do that. And, oh my God, I'm so worried about what's going to happen. And when my PPP runs out, and oh my God, what's going to happen with COVID? I'm going to have to lay somebody off in a month. Whoa. No, this is what's happening right now. Be aware of the future, plan for the future, but be very present in right now and just enjoy what's going right. And also be really attuned to what's not going right so you can powerfully do something with it, right? So then you've got the habit of goodness, which is energy in, energy out. Good energy in, bad energy out. Very simple math. And then the habit of intention. I find that entrepreneurs tend to be better at this than most of the population, which is, I want to do something. This is how I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to go do it. Watch me go. So there's obviously substantially more to it than that, right? But these are basically the high levels, just so you understand what these words mean. Now, my favorite habit is also my most difficult, which is acceptance. As an entrepreneur, God, I was so good at comparing myself to other people. And I told you, when I retired, I was like, oh my God, my house isn't big enough. My bank account isn't big enough. What will people think of me? Will they really think that I've actually retired because I'm so young, because I've done this, because I've done that? Oh, I didn't do this, or I made a mistake and I was the dragon lady because I was so burnt out and people hate me and I'm ashamed of myself and blah, blah, blah. And I made the wrong decision with that. And entrepreneurs are so good. I mean, like epic levels of good at beating ourselves up. Amazing at it, in fact. And a lot of times that whole beating ourselves up is exactly what spurs us on to do great things, right? But it's a double-edged, very sharp sword. And yes, the knife and the sword can poke us on the bum and keep us going, right? But it also slices us to shreds in our heart. And it makes us so we work longer hours than we need to. We accept treatment from people that we shouldn't accept because we don't believe that we're worthy of any better. We go after tiny sales and we leave money on the table because we don't think we're worthy of asking for the price we really want. We are not the leaders we really want to be because we're afraid of what people will think of us. However, when we accept ourselves, we become the people we want to be. We become the leaders we want to be. We become the providers and the mentors and the community pillars that we really strive to be in our hearts. And acceptance is really hard. It was really hard for me because for years, honestly, guys, I succeeded because I hated myself. I did. I was just busy trying to do all the things so I could earn the approval that I was never giving to myself because I always thought that sense of wholeness came from others, and it doesn't. It comes from inside you. It's actually an unlimited wellspring. You just need to figure out where the hell it is. And that's everything that I do throughout the book is I lay out the clear examples. I give you specific tools. There's loads of specific tools that will teach you how to actually hear yourself, how to correct yourself, how to adopt the habit-forming behaviors, build the repetition into your life, and to actually powerfully get the hell out of your own way and be the person that you're so proud to be and that makes everyone around you happy.
Okay, so in our audience, take a deep breath. And how many of you, as Laura was talking, you were going, she's talking to me. Oh my God, that's me, that's me, that's me. Because I certainly was. So if you take a moment and you take a breath and you actually think about all the things that Laura just said, I'm pretty sure that in our audience, it's going to relate to almost everybody, if not everybody. So
yeah, and I think you may have been a little kind there, Juliet, and I love our audience, but I would say 100% of the people would be relating to that at one point or another. There was a lot there, right? There was a lot to absorb, a lot to sort of work through, and I'm sure everybody will take their own snippet, right, out of what they just heard. And that will probably be the one that they related to most closely. I mean, the thing, as you were speaking, Laura, the thing that kept going through my head that I tell myself all the time, and anyone else who will listen, is we are the story we tell ourselves. And
that's very true.
That and it is so true that, when we speak badly to ourselves, we're going to feel bad, because that's, it really is amazing how the human brain and mind and psyche can be our best friend and our worst enemy in a heartbeat. So
Totally.
that was great. So thank you.
And so for those of you in the audience that just resonated with what Laura said about one of the 6, and in her book, she's also going to tell you how to get out of the ruts that we're in, do go out and pick up her book.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing that kept going through my head is it kept reminding me of a Mark Cuban quote, where I think what he said, and I may mess this up, but it was something like, there's only one thing you can control in your life, and that is your own effort.
Yeah.
And I thought that was that resonated. The one thing I wanted to touch on too in the book, and it's interesting. Juliet and I were actually guests on a podcast yesterday.
Oh.
And the topic of our parents came up, but came up accidentally. Like, I didn't know what Juliet was going to say. She didn't know what I was going to say. And we ended up saying almost identical things. And it was, about why did we think, we had decided to be an entrepreneur or start the journey that we started. And we both said that a lot of it was our parents. And it made me think, when I was reading the dedication in your book and the dedication to your parents, just how important they obviously were to you.
Still are.
Could you tell us a little bit about your parents, and maybe a lesson that they may have taught you, and you maybe even didn't know it was a lesson at the time it was being taught, that has served you well through your life?
Ooh, shoot. I hope my parents listen to this one. Yeah. So, well, I think that my parents have taught me a lot of things in life. My dad taught me to swear like a trucker. Thanks, Dad. Had to work on that one. But the thing that my parents taught me that I actually value the most is they taught me tenacity, because my dad is disabled, and he was disabled when I was a year old. He was a mechanic, and he was lifting an engine out of a car. He slipped a disc in his back. He had surgery. The surgeon left a clip in his back. They did a myelogram. Myelograms are known to cause arachnoiditis in some patients. So my dad has this like chronic pain disease and blah, 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 blah. We were really poor when I was growing up because, we needed to get disability. And, the thing that I really loved about watching my parents function as a unit, as a team, and as the opposite of everything I wanted to do when I was growing up. I was like, I want to do this thing. They're like, no. So I definitely come rightly by my stubbornness, but my mother never gave up on my dad. My dad never gave up on her. They never gave up on their dream to raise a little girl into a powerful woman. They never gave up on that. And they fought hard for 9 years to get disability, because arachnoiditis is not something that is widely recognized by the medical community, because it is a byproduct of medical procedures. So they don't want to award disability benefits. So for 9 years, we were eating like celery rinds and stuff. We were doing our best. And my parents are tenacious little buggers. And that was not a lesson that I think they taught me verbally so much as just by watching them, and the fact that they never gave up on me, despite several opportunities and outright requests on my part My parents are not quitters. And that's the thing that I think is really wonderful about entrepreneurship and the journey of self is just keep going, baby. Like half of the success of entrepreneurship and half of the success of working on yourself and being who you want to be in the world is just showing up again and again. You fall on your face, too bad. Scrape the dirt off your face, get up, keep going. And yeah, they taught me that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
A brilliant message. And I do hope that they do hear this episode so that they can hear how much they've impacted you. Because sometimes our parents don't always know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm an emotional, squishy person. I tell them all the time, I love you. And now that they're 5,000 miles away, now I'm just getting the feelings all over them all the time. Dad, I love you. You're the best dad on the planet. Come visit me. I miss you. So, yeah.
Right. Well, that was awesome. That also brings us to a part of the show that we call the Smart Man, Smarter Woman version of the James Lipton's Q&A from Actors Studio. And people who listen to the show know we do this with every guest, every episode. We ask them all the same. There's 5 questions, 6 questions, I guess. We ask the same 6 questions every guest. And we would love to do this with you, Laura, if you are game.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, then, without further ado, we will begin. What one word best defines an entrepreneur?
I'd have to say creative.
Okay. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Dermatologist.
Okay. What profession would you like to never attempt?
Proctologist.
Both medically related, though. I thought that was interesting.
What sound or noise do you love?
Rain.
What book, other than your own, would you recommend for entrepreneurs?
Also not a business book. The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I'm giving you that book because when you nurture, heal, and grow the individual running the business, you nurture, heal, and grow the business itself. And there's some really powerful ideas in there, and it's not a big book. So there's no excuses.
Great. I like it when there's no excuses. And finally, when your own entrepreneurial journey is completed, what do you hope your legacy might be?
I'm happy you asked me that because that's like my new favorite obsession. Well, when my entrepreneurial journey is finished, I'll be dead. I don't plan on quitting while I'm still breathing. The big thing that I want to do, honestly, is I'm trying to leave the world a better place than the way I entered it. I think that there's a lot that's very broken in the world. We have parents neglecting their children, parents abusing their children, giving up their children. You see fatherless children, you see broken homes, you see abuse in the home, you see domestic violence, human trafficking, this and that. And, the thing that I've always believed is people always say to me when we're having like a deep conversation, somewhere in there, it's like, oh, greed is the root of all evil, or money is the root of all evil. And I don't agree. I think the root of all evil that we see in the world, and I say that with air quotes, is actually insecurity. So if you can take a person that is deeply broken and fix the wounds that have carried them throughout their lives and that have been plaguing them since their childhood, things that have been handed down generationally from their father and their father's father and their father's father's father, and you heal those wounds by teaching that person how to truly love themselves, forgive themselves, and like really be a master of self, that person is no longer able to inflict pain on others because hurt people hurt people. So if you heal the hurt, if you heal the people and the brokenness, what you have is a next generation that is better. It's more whole. Little boys will grow up to be better fathers. Little girls will grow up to be better mothers because mommy and daddy fix themselves because they realize, wow, this is a choice. So my big legacy I'm trying to leave behind is I'm trying to influence, while I'm alive, 1 billion people so people can learn these habits, truly return to the lives we were supposed to have. Because we were all born with almost all this stuff. Intention is the only one we need to acquire. But we were born with all of this stuff. And if we can return to this within 2 generations, it is my belief that we will have a happier planet. Animals will be treated better. The planet itself will be treated better. Humans will be happier, kinder, and leaving a legacy of love and kindness everywhere we go instead of being potentially the laughingstock of the universe.
Thank you. That's an awesome and ambitious legacy. And I wish you well with it. And I wish you much success with it.
Thank you.
For those in our audience that would like to connect with you, Laura, what is the best way for them to do that?
The best way is through my website. I have actually 4 websites, 2 for my marketing company and 2 for this. But the one you need to pay attention to is the easiest to spell, which is the6habits.com. The word 6 is spelled out, the SIX habits.com. If you would like an autographed copy of my book, I will send it to you free, just covering shipping and handling. And you can learn about the incredible life-changing 90-day program that worked for this stubborn human, so much so that I started helping others. But that is the center of the universe. If you like social media, you can connect with me through there. You can learn about coaching. But yeah, the6habits.com.
Awesome. And we will have all of your social channels and your websites. We will have links to all of those in the show notes. So that will all be there for anyone who wants to connect with Laura. And so before we conclude our episode, do you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom you would like to share with our audience, Laura? Not that you haven't shared so much already.
You've given me so much airtime, but wait, there's more. Yeah, there is actually one thing I'd love to share with people. Entrepreneurs, listen to me. I am one of you. I have been an entrepreneur since 19. And please listen when I tell you the following. You are capable of creating the life you want. It begins within. Everything you're looking for is not in the fancy car. It's not in what you've been taught it is. It's all within. You deserve to find it. You're capable of finding it. It won't be easy, but frankly, you're an entrepreneur, so you can handle it. And this will be the most noble, life-changing work you ever do that will unlock everything you ever wanted. Work on yourself, and everything you want will come true. Just don't be so stubborn to think that you're all set. Because listen to me, entrepreneur friend. If you're anything like me, you're not.
Very great advice. Great advice for our audience.
And what about you, Juliet? Do you have any final words before we close out this episode?
No, my brain is just running in all these different directions, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to sit down and read this book again. And it's given me a whole. Actually, listening to you talk about it has given me a different perspective. And so that's what I'm thinking to myself is I need to sit back down and read it again.
Well,
that's awesome. Well, I really hope you do the exercises in the book. I think no matter where we are, I don't care how accomplished you are, like you'll always get something great out of it. Even if you do them and then a year later do the exercises again, you'll see, what you still need to work on, it's okay. And
I must say congratulations to Laura for making Juliet speechless. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, but anyway,
come on.
We will have recorded evidence, so that is awesome. So thank you.
You guys are awesome. This has been so much fun.
We always close out with a quote, and so I thought, what better than to close with a quote from our guest?
Oh,
and so here is a quote from Laura. Your current habits are what got you to where you are now. When you want more or better, you have to be better first. True words of wisdom.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you to our guests. Thank you to my awesome co-host. Couldn't do this without you. But most importantly, thank you to you, our audience, for tuning in and giving us a listen. Sincerely hope you found some value. Quite frankly, if you couldn't find value in this episode, I don't know what to say to you. But anyway, I will presume you found some value. So please subscribe to the podcast. We're in all the usual places, iTunes, Spotify, Google, or you can go to the website, smartmansmarterwoman.com. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. Until next time, take good care of yourself and those you love. Bye for now.